One of the things that seems to plague individuals who record into a computer is the fact that you're at the mercy of the computer's processor speed, of its RAM, of just exactly how many tracks it can handle. In this instance here, I've got 37 tracks in this particular session, and the computer is just now starting to get to a point where there are some audio dropouts or some MIDI dropouts, and so I'm looking at a way on how to fix that. Now, if you look up here at the Performance tab, you can see that it's very close to peaking out right here. If at any time that performance does peak out and gets to the red, is when I'll have an audio dropout or things of that nature. So there are several different ways in which you can combat this. First and foremost, make sure that all of your programs that are running in the background are closed, that only the programs that are needed are actually opened. Secondarily, you can set your computer into airplane mode to make sure that the Wi-Fi or internet accessibility is not inhibiting your program either. Another thing that you can do is actually take one instance of a plugin and put it onto a bus, especially if you know you're going to be using that plugin a lot. Like say for in this instance, if I open up my console view, here's a list of all of the buses that I have. On this one here, it's a short room reverb, I have a long haul reverb, a medium plate reverb, delay, saturation, and then I also have groups of things that are routed to certain buses as well. For instance, all of the choir is routed to this one bus so that I can do one plugin on all of them at the same time. Also do one EQ move, and I don't have to insert several instances of EQs, though most of them are being EQ'd individually. It just helps to save CPU usage and space. My drums as well are all on a bus, as well as parallel compression being sidechained into that. So all of those things play a factor and can definitely help to save your CPU usage. However, there are instances like as of this where there are certain plugins that have to be on individual tracks because it wouldn't make sense to make a bus and route just one or two tracks to that bus, because then essentially you're creating an extra work for the CPU again by creating an extra route that it has to follow. So in this instance, what you can do within Cakewalk by Bandlab is actually freeze tracks. This little snowflake looking button right here, if you just click this, what it is essentially going to do is mix down that track. If you have all of your settings set how you'd like them, your volume automation, your plugin instances and everything, you have it mixed sounding like you would like it, what you are going to do is you're going to click freeze track, which will mix down a mixed down version of that specific track within your session, so that it no longer recognizes the plugins any longer, because now it's been mixed down. At any time you can unfreeze it, go back and change things, but this will free up a ton of CPU space. So real quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the before and after. So I'm going to unfreeze this. Take a look at this performance right here. You can already see right there it was starting to peak out. So we're going to take a good look at this real quick. And now I'm going to go through and freeze just my vocal tracks. That would be all of these choir tracks right here, as well as the lead vocals. And then we'll go back and take a look at that performance again. Okay, so as you can see here, I've frozen only the vocals, lead vocals, and the choir parts. Now let's see how my CPU usage looks. As you can see, it's dramatically dropped. It's actually went in half just by those few tracks that I've done there. There are some things that I would make mention of. If you unfreeze or quick unfreeze a track, you have that option over here. I can unfreeze or quick unfreeze a track. Now, anytime that I do that, that command restores the audio on the track in the way that it was before the freeze or the quick freeze command was executed. However, any editing that I've done to a frozen track will be discarded whenever I unfreeze or quick unfreeze the track. So definitely make note of that. Also, you control the bit depth of all the rendering operations, whether that's bouncing, freezing, applying effects, in your edit, preferences, and then it should be under file, audio data. So here's your render bit depth. The default is 32. However, I've changed mine to 24 due to the fact that I record in and render out at 24 bits. So those are some things to make note of before you go to freezing and unfreezing tracks. Okay, so now I'm going to use the F shortcut key to collapse all of these again. Let's bring this up. I'm going to show you another feature that utilizes this freeze option, and that is on synths. So I can go to the synth that I'm using here and actually freeze the synth as well. Now, whenever you freeze a synth track, you're essentially doing the same thing that you've done when you used it on an audio track. There are some things to make note of this as well though. If a soft synth has been inserted to an audio track's effects bin, the freeze or unfreeze button is not present in the synth rack for that synth. To freeze that synth, you then have to right-click the track or the synth's MIDI track and choose Freeze or Freeze Synth from the menu that appears. Also, a MIDI track can only be frozen if it's routed to a software instrument. So by and large, by freezing tracks, closing down programs, I've taken this huge project and made it more manageable, and I've not really harmed anything in the process, because at any time this all could be unfroze again, and at any time I can make everything tweakable once again, I guess is for lack of a better term. So I hope all of this has been helpful. If it has been, take the time to give me a thumbs up, take the time to subscribe, so that every time I release another video, you'll be the first to know about it. Click on that bell icon as well. I'll see you in the next video.